everyone. So part 3 of Tresa changes. Again, it's the Trust in Real Estate Services Act. Big changes coming December the 1st. 185 forms either being new or revised to accommodate the new rules and regulations. So part 3 is speaking about open offer process. So to date, we have had a closed offer process. And what do I mean by that? So that's when a seller can decide or dictate to the listing realtor by a form called Form 244 what the process is for any offers. So someone will say, like a seller will decide if it's 24-hour notice. Usually that's something that's chosen by the buyer and the buyer rep. But in the case of a 244, if the seller decides they want 24-hour notice to review all offers, that's indeed what they will have. They also on that form can put, I want all offers to be presented by a certain date, and then buyer reps will know when to put their buyer offer in, and things like that. Really, they're dictating a seller what terms they wish to share with a buyer agent. Because essentially, unless there's nothing, if there's nothing put in 244, it's an offer process like any other. Hey, offers welcome at any time. At that point, it's up to the buyer rep and the buyer what then they put into the offer. Like they may say, hey, seller, you need to give me an answer in 3 hours. Ooh, that's scary. Anyway, so normally you have a closed offer process. So that's where offers will be presented in sequence of when they were received. And then the seller and the listing rep will review those offers. And then normally the seller will choose an offer to work with or accept. Right? Simple. Now we're going to an open offer process. So can the seller still choose that process, the existing process? Yes, they can. But now they can choose what's called an open offer process, which is where the seller can decide at any point in time during offer presentation that they want existing way of receiving offers or the new way. The new way being open offer process. So what is that? Basically means that the seller can decide to share the price that they want. Basically, they'll take probably more than likely. I mean, we haven't done this before, so we don't really know. But the procedure would be, I would think, as follows. Basically, the seller will choose the offer that they want to work with. And then they'll say, okay, well, I don't like this price. I don't like the conditions. So you go back to every single realtor who represented a buyer and put in an offer and tell them it's open offer process, that this is the highest price. I want them to do better. And these are the conditions that are in the offer. And I don't want any of those conditions. So then the rep, I'm going to say poor rep, because if it was me, that would be exhausting, because now I would have to go to each and every buyer rep, inform them of the change, and say, hey, this is the highest price. You all got to come back and do better. And these are the conditions. So if you're thinking of putting any of these conditions in, don't bother. So that is the new open offer process. Now, think about it. What could happen what are the consequences and what could happen? So the consequences could be that when the seller announces the highest price to the buyer reps and the buyer reps discuss it with their buyers, the buyers could come back and say, I can't afford anymore, or I'm not financed for anymore, and I need a financing condition. Well, they could step out. Now, in the closed offer process that we currently, our existing process that we follow, once a buyer rep has registered the offer, they cannot back out from that offer. So obviously there has to be a way of a buyer if they didn't know an open offer process was going to be there at the time they put their offer in, then there has to be some sort of, protection for the buyer. So there'll probably be a clause more than likely saying, if the seller does an open offer process, the buyer's out. Because most buyers say, no, I don't want to be part of that process. That's too scary. That's too risky, scary. So I don't want to be part of that. I don't want my offer shared. So, and then that would be the buyer's right to do that. And any smart rep will learn that clause, take it to heart, and be putting it in offers for their buyers. Also, there could be something like an escalating clause, which is where, if the seller wants more than this, we're out. So it could be a clause to protect the buyer. But let's go back to the seller. So if the seller wants an open offer process and they receive offers, obviously, to initiate that open offer process, what could happen to them? All buyers could walk away. Because if you're looking at an open offer process, it probably I would say it has to be within a seller's market where everything's going into bidding wars. So in that case, if it gets too high, so say there's offers for $600,000, say the market value of the home is maybe, $600,000. So then you get an open offer process where offers are $620 and $650, and the seller goes, no, I don't want any of those. I don't want any financing conditions. I don't want any home inspections. I don't want anything. I just want it clean cut. I want to sell my home tonight. Well, that seller may find that the buyer has issues because this is going to be such a new process. The buyer may have a lot of issues of that. They may end up turning around and saying, we don't want to put an offer in this home at all. And that seller then could be left with nothing, where at the beginning of the offer process, they received decent offers for their home. So if you'd like to know more about Tresa and what's coming December the 1st that could affect your buying or selling decisions, give me a call. My name's Vanessa Wilson, sales representative for Coldwell Banker Momentum Realty, owner of Niagara Living Real Estate, Inc. Like, share, and give me a call. Thank you. Have a great day.